Welcome in to the 58th episode of Southern Boys Sports Podcast. My name is Ron. It's my co-host, Ben Clay.
What's going on, guys?
Episode number 58, Ben. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Materialistic football to talk about this week. Notre Dame, Navy, Hawaii, Vandy, UTEP, Jacksonville State, USC, San Jose State. I got the games memorized. I'm so jazzed. I'm wearing a Georgia Tech shirt today. Shout out to all the people watching on YouTube. No relation to week 0, but thought in my closet when we went down to Atlanta this past summer, picked up the Georgia Tech shirt. And, so I could not be more excited. Obviously, some big things going on for us this past week that we want to talk about before we get into the ultimate content here on episode 58. But I got a new mic this episode. Should sound a lot better. We're going to try and get my other one fixed. But for now, we got a little bit of a patch. Ben, you're working with a new mic as well. And the show should sound
a lot better.
Much better. How's this past week been treating you?
Hopefully. It's been good. Me and Drew had the opportunity to we did some live commentary of a high school football game. So it's fun, and we're gonna continue doing that for the Hillsboro Boroughs.
Yep.
What even is that? Hillsboro AV News Department?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Yeah,
that's the YouTube channel or something.
Yeah. We were kind of put in a pickle this past week.
We were.
The game was streamed live here on Southern Boys Sports. If you're watching, you can go back listen to it, or at least just you're aware that we're doing it. But yeah, I mean it's a good opportunity through the school. We're excited we're able to do it, like Ben said, and it's kind of a step forward, trying to get into the broadcasting career, whether it's radio, TV, doing stuff like this, whatever it is. We obviously got the opportunity to go out, call a high school football game, and our high school got to win 40-7. So that is a bright spot.
But inaugural.
Then you played some golf. I know school's kind of continuing to go, and all that good stuff. So the rest of your week outside of that football game.
Yeah, it was good. I was kind of. Drew said that he was going to bring this up before, and I really did not want it to happen. I did not play well at golf.
No.
Not my best day. Really, if I could just, maybe, I feel like every day, every time, it's my driver's bad, which is a guarantee, and then there's one other club, and it's just like, I just can't get it done that way.
Sure.
And it just becomes a problem for me.
Sure. Yeah, well, I actually haven't played since summer.
Drew left us hanging.
I know. I need to go back out there, hit the links. But, hey, this coming up weekend, Ben, we're going to be back. We were at First Bank Stadium last year, I believe in September, maybe early October, for Vanderbilt and Wake Forest last year.
I think it was week 3.
Yeah, and Vandy Wake Forest at First Bank Stadium right here in Nashville. And the boys are making it back out. We're going to the week 0 game. Hawaii at Vanderbilt. Got some pretty good seats I'm excited about.
Yes.
And the boys are back in town. I think we might go eat. We're going to get a reunion going. Beatty Noon will be alongside with us. And it's actually interesting because I was listening to a podcast called Through the Wire, NBA podcast,
Yeah.
Kenny Beecham, Pierre. Sick show. Love their show and all that stuff. Love keeping up with them individually. But they always kind of mention, they have their 4 guys from the podcast, but then they'll hop in the Xbox, chat or party with 4 other guys who are cool guys, but they didn't want to do the podcast or whatever it was. And that's ultimately Beatty, hanging out with Beatty, fun time. Obviously met back up with him at school. Still talk college football. Still talk all that stuff. And even though he's not on the show, we are going to watch the game with him. Probably grab a bite to eat. It's a primetime game, Mr. Clay.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
6:30, 6 o'clock.
And, man, we're excited. I know.
I'm excited.
Vanderbilt fans, though, I will say, and I actually texted this to Beatty individually just because, we kind of have our Vandy banter because we both kind of, Yeah. So, the Vandy fans now, you're getting a little out of control, okay? I saw a post from actually the Southern Boys Sports Vanderbilt affiliate. And said something about being a Tennessee fan. I was like, okay, buddy, and sent a record of 79 and 22 or 33 all time. Ridiculous. And then he actually said, we used to be a staple early in the SEC. We started the series up 18-2. Okay, so that means we have gone on a 77-15 win streak.
It doesn't help you out much.
What in the world? At the end of the day, I like Vanderbilt. I like talking to people in the Vanderbilt program, Trevor Hulen, Will Byram, Billy Derrick, and all those people. But if the fans start getting rowdy, if this team makes a bowl game this year, we're going to have to draw some lines.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And the people that I always have a problem with, think about it the past couple of weeks, Ben. It's been Pitt, Illinois, and Vanderbilt.
I know you have a problem with other teams, and it's something where, like, really, a Vandy fan cannot be talking. Pretty sure last year a team was down their Heisman quarterback and still lost 49-0.
Yeah. 55 or something like that.
So I mean, I get that. It really. I'm be honest, it makes no sense. I know, like, the last like maybe 2 years ago, they were like the series was like 500 over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of the fans that just don't really have room to talk who are always talking. And I was listening to College Football Uncensored by Saturday Down South. Shout out to them as well. 2 podcast shout outs so far, but I was listening to their show, and one of the guys on there compared the Georgia Twitter fan base to North Korea.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like, if you say something positive about their team, dude, they're all over you. They love you. Yeah. They think you're one of the greatest things ever walked the earth. You say one bad thing about Stetson Bennett or the speed limit and how it pertains to their team, and it's like freaking death be its due, whatever.
That's fair, 100%.
But, and the other thing that I want to talk about, just some small talk to start off the pod, is hoopgrids.com, Ben. And this is not a plug.
No,
but we have been absolutely going on about some hoopgrids.com, and I honestly want there to be a college football version from a technological savvy person out there who understands how to do that. And it can be
super difficult.
It can be like college, and then like 7,000 yard passer, member of 2016 bowl roster, and something NFL player drafted in the third to fifth round, something like that. And especially with the portal coming into play now, I mean, you got a couple guys bouncing around and all that stuff, and you can maybe put 2 teams next to each other and that stuff. So we need a college football equivalent of Hoop Grids here at Southern Boys Sports. Unfortunately, I don't think either one of us are technologically savvy enough to do so. But, I mean, hoopgrids.com, basketball reference, like all that stuff, dude, we've been grinding.
Oh, for sure. And, I mean, we both, like, I think it was like 10:30 last night. I did it, and I sent it to Drew, and we were like,
yeah.
I was like, dude, this is the one. You know what I mean? Drew was just cooking. I knew he could do something with it. So it worked out perfect. And, I mean, Drew is better at than random players. I would say I have more, like, general basketball knowledge about the NBA more than him.
That's probably true.
Random players, Drew has me in that category.
Okay, and I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Because, okay, so let's go back to probably 5th grade, and I mean, number one, shout out again, king of the fourth quarter. I'm not knowing half the players that I know randomly if he's not out here trading for him in NBA 2K rebuilds and stuff like that. So that's number one. Number two is okay, so if you're in 5th or 6th grade, everybody's the fad is Fortnite. Come home, play Fortnite online, hop on the Xbox, whatever. I'm not getting online. That's just not my type of thing. I
have never played Fortnite with Drew.
Yeah, I've never played a game online a day of my life. And if I do, I just barely play. I'm not much of a online gamer.
I always do. Hey, and NCAA 24, we're going to get you online.
Yeah, NCAA 24. We definitely got to get online for sure. Yeah, we're going to have to run it up. But Ben's playing the show and all this stuff, and I would love to play. I just can't ever get into it. I don't really know. I just can't get into it, and so I would just play 2K or rebuild in 2K and just play 2K offline. And that's how I know Bruno Caboclo and all these random dudes who played in the NBA for a year. And then Tennessee Vols help it. Keon Johnson, Jarnell Stokes, all these guys who played at Tennessee, played a year or two, and Kyle Alexander. I got the other day, played for the Heat in the G League and had 0 career threes attempted or 0 threes attempted in a season or something like that. But that's my rant of the day. We need a college football version.
That's why I'm so good at the MLB or the NFL one.
Yeah.
I just I play those games, but 2K I'm really not a big 2K fan. I'll play some My Career online. I love some My Career online.
My Career got shiesty.
The neighborhood, but
during the pandemic,
some tryhards are on there.
During the pandemic, my player got up an 86 and he was a bum. There was just 98 running around there nothing.
I remember that is I used to play with my brother and his friend every night. We were tryharding. We had our own pro-am team. We had everything. We're actually kind of decent, but I'm terrible now.
But the vibes then were so crazy. It was
the game was fun. Now I just kind of feel video games are
I was going into the rec playing.
You played rec games?
Yeah, like playing in the rec, playing in the pro-am, and then like going to bed at like 11, getting up, doing online school. It's just like life was good back in like 2020.
It was good, but it was also
terrible. Yeah. So luckily enough, we didn't have the podcast back then, so there's nothing being derailed. Obviously, college football, no fans, like all that stuff was absolutely terrible. But yeah, once we get NCAA football 24 coming out, dude, the vibes there are going to be immaculate.
I'm going to know every college football player in the game.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be the knowledge is going to increase.
My knowledge is going to
sure.
increase.
Sure, yeah. But enough of the small talk here on the 58th episode. We've got some week 0 picks, Ben, and it feels good. It feels good. We're talking week 0, talking fundamental football, like actual game. It's kind of crazy. Like
it makes me smile.
We haven't done week picks in like 7 months.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
That's unbelievable. So week 0 picks, 2023 offseason overreactions.
January.
Are the headlines of the episode this week. And, we've kind of mentioned it a couple of times, but we're going to try and live up to the point standing system. And while I was workshopping it last night, I think we're going to go a little bit of the NHL route. And it might get confusing to listeners, but we're going to try and break it down.
I was so confused.
We're gonna try and break it down, number 1, as best as possible. And number 2, once we go week by week, once the points and standings kind of start evening out, then we'll kind of understand. But, Ben, if I'm not mistaken, before I get to the point system here for this year, I believe you won last year.
I did.
Just outright standings.
I was just that good.
But I think this year, number 1, graphics are going to get better. Okay, number 1, graphics are going to get better.
The graphics are going to happen. They didn't happen.
Last year we were definitely slacking once we get into the school year.
Didn't keep track of the points. I really want to this year.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to.
We're going to compete for this one.
And I said there might be a little bit of a punishment here. That's going to have to be decided. But
no, I'm down for that.
Maybe some kind of punishment near the end of the year for the loser. But here's how it's going to go. Obviously, standings will be kept. Obviously, 1-0 for a win, 2-1 for, you get it. And points will also be kept. So kind of an NHL situation. The point system is as follows. A correct pick. Okay, so I pick Notre Dame to beat Navy. Notre Dame beats Navy. I get 5 points. If you pick correctly and the exact score, you get 10 points. So if I pick Notre Dame to beat Navy 34-10 and they win 34-10, I get 10 points. If I pick Notre Dame to beat Navy and the score is incorrect, I still get 5. If we're both wrong, so let's say Navy somehow rocks the boat, does something crazy here in week 0, Navy wins this game, we're both wrong. Whoever's closer to the mark is going to get 3 points.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how are we going to do closer, though? What would we just say, like, if it's a close game, whoever's got the closer score?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it would have to be.
That's kind of interesting though, because I feel like I just put every game close.
True.
Like
okay,
one
yeah,
point game.
We'll have to patch that.
I would just say if we both get it wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Well, somehow we'll incorporate 3 points. If the score is right and the game is wrong, you still get a point. So
that's fair.
I feel like that happened a lot last year, where it was like I picked the game 31. I think that happened like 3 or 4 times. So I could potentially scrape together a few points. And if we both get the game correct, we get 6 points, so just +1 to the original point. So we're kind of still rooting for each other just so we get that extra point. But then again, you still want each other to lose. So rundown. Okay, if you get the game correct pick, correct score, 10 points for the boys. Correct pick, not the right score, which is probably going to happen a lot. That is 5 points to the standings. For now, if we're both wrong, whoever has the closer score gets 3 points added. If the score is right, the game is ultimately incorrect, you only get 1 point. And if you both get the game correct, me and Ben both get the game correct, we get +1 points added to the original 5-point total. So
I think will happen often.
Yeah, that will probably, especially here in week 0, we could run together a couple of 6-pointers just because of the Notre Dame game. I think the Vanderbilt game, both kind of gimme games. USC, you want to throw in there. But, Ben, week 0 picks, man. I mentioned it, week 0 picks, and we got 2023 offseason overreactions near the end of the episode. Kind of been wanting to do that. We were kind of torn on what to do here on the kind of the last episode before we get into, like, football every week, kind of rapid-fire type stuff. We're going to have content out of our ears at that point. But I'm excited for the episode. Is there a game that you want to start with, Ben?
I was kind of going down in order. Should we head to Dublin?
Dublin. Okay, I got him right here.
I got him right here, number 1
on my list, and I do like that pick. If you want to start us off with the prediction, I have Notre Dame Navy, obviously Dublin, Ireland, 2:30, I believe on Peacock.
Maybe.
Because it is a Notre Dame football game. So Notre Dame, Navy, Dublin, Ireland. Obviously the game last year was Northwestern and Nebraska, which was the only game Northwestern won all last year, and it wasn't even in America. So Notre Dame, Navy, we'll get to our
NBC.
Oh, it's okay. It's on NBC. Great. And this is going to be our jersey matchup of the week. So we mentioned jersey matchups, and I'm going to go first because the graphic pertains that I have to go first because I was writing them up like an idiot last night. So I'm going to go ahead.
What does that mean? And
go number one. But with me going number one, I got Notre Dame, Ben. I got Notre Dame in this football game, 34-6. I think Sam Hartman runs the score up, and I think it's an easy. I think it's a somewhat slow start. Maybe we get out. It's like 7-3. Both teams are kind of teetering. Blah blah blah. But I do think Sam Hartman. I think Audric Estime. I think the wide receiver corps is going to have to be adjusted to for this offense for sure. But look, we talked about Notre Dame on the team preview the other week. I'm just psyched to be talking about football, while I'm talking about it because Notre Dame, they got an absolute great red zone running back, and talking about actual college football this week feels really good. So give me Notre Dame 34, Navy 6. I think their offense is going to struggle. New head coach Brian Newberry takes over for I can't pronounce her. Their old head coach.
You're fine.
And Navy will run the ball a lot. Daba Fofana is their running back as of right now, RB1. But Ty Lavatai and Blake Horvath will both be competing for QB1. I personally don't think it will really matter. I think Notre Dame comes out here, runs them up, starts off 1-0.
Yeah, I will give Navy a touchdown here. I've got Navy 10, Notre Dame 35.
Okay.
So like we've said, I mean, this Navy team, obviously, I don't think they have the willingness to beat a Notre Dame team that's super well rounded. I mean, they've got a great passer in Sam Hartman. Like you said, Audric Estime is poised for a breakout year. I mean, I think this team, the Notre Dame team, obviously I have them top 10, so like I would hope they don't lose this game. But
what do you have them, 8?
No, I think they're 10.
Okay, and by the way, since you mentioned it, Ben, if you haven't already, posted our preseason top 25s over on Twitter, posted them over on Instagram. And Ben, I know you had a little bit of a floof, and we'll talk about that in a second.
It's Oregon State, okay? I didn't mean that.
Yeah, Ben accidentally put Texas A&M in over Oregon State. He had to shuffle a few things around.
I'll stand strong with the rest of my list.
And the rest of his list is good. I think I
do have Notre Dame over Tennessee, which might make you mad.
That's crazy. I mean, honestly, though, it's not that crazy. But we posted over on Twitter. Both comments said
one was a Tennessee fan.
They both said Drew knows ball. So it's like
one was a Tennessee fan.
You never know, man. You never know. One was a Tennessee fan. I think the other one was a Michigan fan. So
I don't know what I did that's different from yours.
You had Tennessee at like 11. You just said you had behind us Notre Dame.
No, I know, but for a Michigan fan, what did I do?
Oh yeah, I mean that's true. But okay, to be fair, like if you're looking at it from a preseason perspective,
here's my thing though. Like I saw like the AP polls and stuff, and I was like,
I didn't look at the.
I want to do something different.
I looked at RJ Young's. I accidentally thought it was Fox. And I was like, dude, what is this list? I was like, oh, it's RJ Young.
I want to do something different, so I switch stuff up. And
I think I feel like I really did. I had LSU at 12.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Here, we'll talk about it right now. I want to talk about this.
I don't like that at all. All right, let me finish Notre Dame while you pull it up.
Go ahead.
Obviously, holy smokes.
My gosh. What a voice crack. We might have to cut that out. That was detrimental.
I just think this Notre Dame team has too much for Navy to even compete with. So I think we're both poised for a low 6-pointer here.
All right, let me go ahead. I'm actually just going to pull the post up over on Twitter. That's going to be easier than scrolling through my camera roll. But yeah, holy smokes, I have Notre Dame 34, Navy 6. We both have Notre Dame winning this football game. So if they do win, which is going to happen more than likely, if Navy wins, we're both screwed.
I'm closer.
You are closer. Well, no, because if the score is 35-0, then I'm closer. If the score is 34-17, then you're closer because you gave him a touchdown. So it's closer to the actual score.
No.
Yes, that makes the most sense.
No.
Because if you pick...
Okay, if Navy wins, first off, it's going to be like 10-7.
Yeah, I mean...
Second off, I'm closer, though.
But you don't... How would you know you're...
I'm not closer to... there's a difference. I think it's closer to, like... Are we doing, like, closer from the differential we have right here, or closer in terms of...
Okay, here's how we'll do it.
How many points have they scored?
If Navy wins, and the score... Whoever has a closer score differential.
Why are we acting like Navy's going to win?
So I have Navy minus 28 in this game. and you have
Minus
maybe
25.
minus 25.
So I get the point.
Sure. Okay.
But then it makes me think, like, I'm just going to put Navy 34, Notre Dame 35, because I'm like, we both get it right.
Okay, well, let's just stay away from the bogus stuff. We don't have any problems.
All right, so no, if it's wrong, it's wrong. No three-pointer. I don't care.
Okay. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Fair enough. All right, let's talk about these top 25s real quick. Just like a few notes, and let me get these off the screen real quick for the people watching. Oh, my goodness. How is this still on the screen?
Shouldn't be.
Sorry. For the people watching on YouTube, we apologize. For the people listening, it's probably worse. But anyways... Okay, so I have, Ben, you have LSU, notable differences. You have Alabama above Notre Dame. Or excuse me, Alabama above USC. Alabama at 4, USC is at 5. I have top 5. You have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, USC. I have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, USC, and Alabama. So
It's weird because you literally have Bama making the playoffs. Over.
Yeah, but I mean, I think... At the end of the day, I made my list for people wondering, if you're listening, you saw the AP top 20 or our top 25 poll, I should say, and you're saying, how in the world is this blah, 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 blah. I will say at least my criteria for the list was what we saw out of them last year. So what we saw out of them last year, Ohio State was a playoff team. I'm not going to knock them out of the top 4 after making the playoffs. But then also what they gained this year. So USC gains Dorian Singer. USC brings in a great portal class, a great offensive line and defensive line class. They bring back the Heisman Trophy winner quarterback. I just have to put him in Alabama strictly because we know more about him. I think the wide receivers are better at USC than Alabama. I think the quarterback at USC is better than Alabama. And I think ultimately Ohio State is a better, more talented football team than Alabama this year. And at least in the preseason. If it comes down to it later in the season and we see that Alabama has a dog at quarterback and a couple guys out wide develop into dogs, then okay. But as of right now, as of what we know, I think Ohio State's probably top 2 or 3 most talented teams in college football. And so for them to be ranked in the top 4, I would say I think Alabama gets in the playoff since they're going to lose to Michigan and Alabama's going to have that win, one loss, and potentially an SEC championship game win. In which case, Ohio State finishes 11-1 and Alabama's 12-1. So it's like it's a little different. And if I was picking the playoff, I would put Alabama at 4, USC at 3, and Ohio State at 5. But if I'm making a preseason top 25, I would keep Ohio State in.
No, Ohio State I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But like I understand if we're going off of like I'd put USC at like 3, like over Ohio State and Bama, but like. I think, like, when I'm also going through it, I'm like, okay, who's, like genuinely, who do I think would win a game against the two of them?
Sure.
I think Bama could beat USC.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And I hate to be the guy who's like, they don't have a quarterback right now.
No, and I understand that, but USC's defense is the problem.
And Alabama's defense is pretty good this year. Like, they're
exactly.
going to be good
I
enough
think
to stop
it is
USC.
possible where Alabama, like, stops them enough to where they score enough. So, I mean, like, I understand it. I think the top 5 for us, it's really interchangeable. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad. Like, I'm not, like, concerned about you having USC at 5. Yeah, I'm really not concerned about that at all.
Well, I have them at 4. You have them at 5.
Yeah.
Moving down the list, Penn State, Florida State, Washington is my next 3.
That sounds similar to mine.
You had Penn State, LSU, and Florida State.
Do I have Washington
to
9?
So you drop Washington to 9. You put Notre Dame at 10, Texas at 11, Tennessee at 12. But I think Penn State,
that's valid. It's just Penn State just is a rough situation.
Yeah, we both have Penn State at 6. So it's like I think we value them the same. And they're a good team. We know more about them than we know about Florida State right now, right? I think that's probably true. That Florida State wasn't a true contender last year, like Penn State coming into the year maybe was. I think Penn State's probably a better football team than Washington. Yeah. I think they return more than Tennessee does talent-wise. I think Tennessee has higher potential to be a better team just because of the way their schedule plays out. But I think Penn State right now, we see a little bit more talent returning. And then LSU, I have them over LSU. You have them over LSU. And I think that could ultimately change down the stretch of the season just because LSU plays a schedule that could allow them to jump Penn State in the rankings because Penn State plays Ohio State and Michigan and, a couple trap games earlier. So, I don't know. I mean, you have LSU at 7. I have them way down at number 10. And I'll explain that in a second.
Yeah, I really don't understand that at all.
Because you have LSU at 7. I have Florida State.
Which I mean, seriously, the Penn State thing also, like, we could go into the quarterback game, but like we were saying, like, based off of last year, the way that they played with Sean Clifford at quarterback, who's actually been a dog for the Packers.
Yeah, he's been very good in the preseason.
He's been great, but I think Drew Aller is a step up. So I mean, I think they could be a better team. And LSU, like LSU, I know what I'm getting out of them.
Yeah,
like FSU, I could understand putting them ahead. Tennessee.
We beat him last year. I promise that's the only reason
why. But you got to give me like 2 weeks. The starting Jaden Daniels is back. Guaranteed, I know that they have a quarterback. I know Joe Milton will be solid.
Yeah.
But have I seen Joe Milton be solid?
Yes.
No.
He threw for 800 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Here he goes again.
I've never heard of him.
I mean, throughout a season.
Fair. Okay. I mean,
and okay. Let me see it this year.
Okay, so I mean, it's
where
basically
he actually has to take over the starting role.
You are placing. Okay, let's see. So you have Tennessee at 12, LSU at 7. So it's not really like head-to-head competition. But so here's my question: is Quinn Ewers really that like? Have we seen him be good enough to be a top 15 quarterback or
so based
top 15
off
team?
of chances to make the playoffs?
Sure. I mean,
Texas has a way better.
Yeah,
chance
Texas is ultimately they place a schedule that if they beat Oklahoma and Alabama, I think they're in.
Yeah.
Like I think they're 100% in because even if they lose one other game
and win out, they're fine.
Yeah. So yeah, you have LSU at 7. I have Florida State. I have Washington. You have Florida State. You have Washington. I have Tennessee. So Washington and Tennessee at 9. I have Tennessee at 9. I put them over Clemson. We beat Clemson. I put them over LSU. We beat LSU. And I understand it's a different team, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to see LSU be.
I'm trying to see if that looks better. That looks way better.
I'm gonna have to see LSU be a little bit better than they were, and last year, just kind of take a step one more up, right? And I do like LSU. I'm a little bit weary of them, and But I mean, other than that. Those are just kind of like the main points of it. I definitely want to touch on that. I have Notre Dame at 13, Texas at 14. I know you have those two at 10 and 11 and all that good stuff. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really crazy. Anything you would talk about? I know we kind of just wandered into our top 25 list here on the episode.
There's nothing that I'm like offended by on your list.
Yeah. And
Except for LSU at 12. That kind of like makes no sense.
It's at 10. Okay, it's 10.
You said 12.
Okay, well, I did not mean to say 10. It is, excuse me, I did not mean to say 12. It is 10. My list goes as Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, Ohio State at 3, USC at 4, Alabama at 5, Penn State at 6, Florida State at 7, Washington at 8, Tennessee at 9, LSU at 10. That's my list. Ben's list, Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, Ohio State at 3, Alabama at 4, USC at 5, Penn State at 6, LSU at 7, Florida State at 8, Washington at 9, Notre Dame at 10. So you have a top 10 team playing in the country this weekend.
I do.
Ben,
Look,
in Dublin, Ireland.
I just got to throw something out there. You know, they beat Ohio State, and then they're making the playoffs.
That has been staked that they do beat Ohio State, making the playoffs.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Maybe you never know. I mean, they'd
be a great take.
If they're really good, their schedule sets up for them to beat a couple ranked opponents.
If they beat Ohio State, like really, like what else could happen?
USC.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, I'll be there, baby. I'll be there.
Oh, really? Thanks.
Yeah. But look, final point on this Notre Dame Navy game before we get into the rest of our Week 0 predictions. Notre Dame ultimately just going to be too much on offense. Jack Kaiser, Javonte Jean-Baptiste. I'm interested to see what they do on defense. I'm interested to see what the defense runs like this season. Got a couple transfers. I know Jean-Baptiste, a couple guys in the secondary, but I expect them to lock Navy up. Bad Navy offense. Obviously, it's an option thing. They got a new head coach in Brian Newberry who's going to be running a little bit different. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be the option scheme that we see out of Navy, but yeah, I just think obviously Notre Dame's a better football team, but I'm excited to have college football back. It's the first game of the day, so that'll be fun. Don't mind me flipping my papers here. Let's go to the next game of the week, Ben, and this is a game, 7 o'clock, FS1. Let me go ahead and pull her up here on the screen.
Wow. He's really acing this.
Yeah, I thought this was going to run a little bit smoother than it did.
Interesting. Going this one for number 2. I'm down. Now, I think this is one we might have separated on.
Yeah, we separated on this one. We did separate on this one. I'm going to go with my boy Curtis Rourke. Absolutely love the guy. Slept on. 3,200 yards last year, 25 touchdowns, 4 picks. Ohio was a pretty good team last year. I believe they went 9-3 or 8-4 and ended up winning that bowl game against Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl. And yeah, I mean, I that's right.
I'm pretty positive they beat San Diego State in the Frisco Bowl.
No, they beat. I promise.
Okay, why did I look?
They beat Wyoming in the Arizona Barstool Arizona Bowl. I put my life on it.
Right.
It was a close game, I feel like. Anyways, yeah, I mean, South Dakota State, San Diego State was a team decent last year. I mean, ultimately, they have had guys in the past who have been really good. They've had teams in the past who have been really good. Not to mention they kind of been in and out with the Mountain West. Kind of been a weird thing, but that's kind of the most that we've seen out of San Diego State this whole offseason is off the field things rather than on the field things. So I like Ohio a lot. I mean, I think they got the opportunity to come in and win the MAC potentially this year, especially with what Kent State lost to the portal. And, you know, there's a couple other teams competing out there, but I like Curtis Rourke. I like Ohio. And, yeah, I go to Ohio. The Bobcats winning this game 27-17. And it's week 1. I'm going to put week 0, I should say. Point totals will be a little bit lower in my eyes. Offenses are going to get rolling and stuff. But, yeah, I mean, San Diego State, they're bringing back a quarterback from last year who struggled. But I just like Ohio to win this game, Ben.
Yeah, you know, and I didn't. It was the last time they played. It was 2018, and Ohio won 27-0 in a bowl game.
Okay, there we go.
So I'm Ohio. Did I say Ohio State? I think Ohio won 27.
Yeah, Ohio.
And so I mean, when I looked at the roster, like obviously I saw Curtis Rourke. I don't know how to pronounce their running back's name.
Okay,
it's something wild, but they obviously on paper I would say they have a better roster, and stats wise they have a better roster. So I mean, when you look at it, like Ohio's the obvious pick there. See, I caught myself that time. But you know, I think this is my one upset pick of the week.
Sure.
You know, you always got to throw one in there. So I like Jalen Maiden, and I think
that's something we'll never hear again.
I like Jalen Maiden this week, and I'm gonna pick San Diego State here.
Yeah, I mean
40-20.
They do have
San Diego State 20.
20.
No, 20. Ohio 14.
Okay.
Sorry.
20-14. Got it. Yeah, I mean, it's an underrated game for sure.
Yeah.
Like this game is
it'll be close for sure.
7 o'clock, FS1. We're going to be at the Vandy Hawaii game, Ben, but we'll be keeping track in this one. I mean, it's week 0. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'll probably go back and rewatch this one at some point.
Yeah.
And, hey, San Diego State's head coach, former Tennessee interim head coach Brady Hoke, was not the brightest of times when Brady Hoke was a Tennessee Vol, but yeah, I mean, spent a little time at Tennessee, spent a little time at Virginia Tech, and I think Jalen May's gonna be better than he was last year. I mean, that's not gonna be hard. He had a 12 touchdown to 10 interception ratio last year, but they lose their top 2 receivers in Tyrell Shaver and Jesse Matthews. Over 1,000 yards combined and 6 touchdowns, so it's just a little bit shaky for me. I don't love what San Diego State Sorry, I forgot to put your pick up there, Ben. I don't love what San Diego State just returns. Like, I just don't really know if they've got what it takes to be, you know, really that good of a football team this year. So I like Ohio to win the game. And you go ahead, tell us what game we're going to next. I'll make my prediction.
After the game, I'm pretty sure the line is even. We're gonna go to UTEP Jacksonville State.
Okay, great. That's the literal one that I have next. So
and it's a game that I was debating. I do have Jacksonville State here. I've got Jacksonville State 21, UTEP 17. Now, I'm pretty sure you did pick UTEP here. So I think we have 2 that are different now.
Yes, sir.
And you did pick UTEP.
I did pick UTEP.
And look, I was looking at everything. Jacksonville State has a quite underrated defensive line. Chris Hardy and Jalen Swain had both were like tackles, and they had like 5+ sacks last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a nasty little duo up front. Zion Webb. Pretty sure he's a redshirt senior coming back, a lot of experience. You know, he didn't do great last year, but I think in a game like this, I think Jacksonville State jumps on top and they don't lose this one.
Hey, that would be interesting, man. I mean, I think that. Sorry, I think at the end of the day, you're gonna have a team that. In UTEP that's really experienced. Like I'm looking at their roster. I mean, they have like a ton of redshirt seniors. Their transfer is a senior. Their quarterback is a senior who transferred in. They have a lot of redshirt juniors. I just think UTEP has experience. Obviously, I don't expect them to do anything game breaking this season. But I mean, at the end of the day, I like Brady Hardison, their quarterback. I think Jacksonville State, they're coming into the game. and they're saying like this is our first FBS game. So it's like it's going to be something to adjust to. I mean, if you want to win a game this season, if you're them, I mean, I think this is probably.
Just put up both. It makes things so much easier.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have to do them at like one time.
That's what I'm saying. Just put the second one up.
I just did it poorly because I should have just. There we go. I should have just put both of them up at one time and just tried to kill the
birds with one
suspense
stone.
of it. Yeah, but no, I mean I like UTEP. Obviously, are y'all playing UTEP again this year? I feel like y'all play them literally every year. You're not.
No.
Okay. Well, I still like UTEP to win this game. I think this game's relatively close. I don't think it's anything crazy. I don't think either offense really gets going. I have UTEP 24, Jacksonville State 10. So, I mean, like you said, Zion Webb and a new Jacksonville State team, maybe they go in, score a couple early points, but week 0 action, new FBS team for the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State. And, Ben, I got a little bit of a trivia question for you.
Oh, here we go.
Is this a staple coming back to the show? Yes, indeed. I don't feel like we've done a trivia question like this in a while.
I like this.
What? And you might not listen to the music that like who you might not like listen to the music, but you know that I know the person, and so like I listen to him a lot. Okay,
Like a Luke Bryan or
Luke Bryan's up there, but it's a country music star who played football. I won't say star, a country music singer, borderline star, who played quarterback at Jacksonville State for a year or two before doing music. Went to a show here in Nashville.
Riley Green.
Yeah, Riley
There
Green.
it is.
There it
Knew
is. Jacksonville State alum Riley Green. That would be a crazy get to get
Just
on
have
the
to
show.
give me a second.
But yeah, I actually, I do listen to his music a little bit, and a lot of it actually. Went to a show here in Nashville, and I think when he played with Luke Combs is the one who put on the Jacksonville State jersey. So
See, I knew Luke Combs wasn't it, but
yeah. He's an App State guy.
he
Shout
also
out
is
to
not
him.
a football guy.
He's not.
Yeah, I didn't even play football. Is what I mean.
No. I mean, that's surprising. Okay, that was a little bit out of
I
pocket.
know. Well, I was kind of implying that, and you just went for it.
Yeah. Well, I think in one of his songs he says something about "and does to me." I believe with Eric Church, he says something about like third string dreamer on a second place team. So maybe he was just like not that good at football. Decided to play some music instead.
It worked out. It
did work out for the better. But no. Anyways, back to Jacksonville State, UTEP. I do think UTEP comes out on top in this game. They got the Power 5. Nope. They got the Group of 5 FBS experience. I think they got a lot of experience on offense, return a lot of guys. And I'm high on Brady Hardison, this Utah team. Can I speak or no? This UTEP team
I'm
and
doing it too. It's fine.
what they can do here in 2023. So, Ben, that is it on UTEP and Jacksonville State. Another pretty solid game in week 0. Maybe not one I would prefer to watch in week number 5 of the season, but hey, week 0 football, you kind of got to settle with what you got.
It's college football.
Yeah, anything is college football. So, Ben, do you have a number 4 game of the week for us? Number 4.
So I want to save the one that I think will be the best game for last.
Okay.
So we're gonna go to UMass and New Mexico State.
Yeah, go ahead and go down to the freaking bottom of the earth here.
So I'm pretty sure we have the same here. I've got UMass 16, New Mexico State 27. So you do have New Mexico State, and
I do have New Mexico State.
The Aggies here. Look, Diego Pavia didn't have a great year last year, but the difference is when we're like the difference is now that we don't have to like think about the whole season. Like we can just like talk about this one game.
Yeah.
So obviously Diego Pavia might not be great, but I think he is good enough to beat a UMass team. And UMass's quarterback situation is a bit scary. I was talking to Drew. Drew was talking about somebody's QB to interception ratio, and here comes Brady Olson. Last season, 791 yards.
Drop was crazy.
2 touchdowns and 8 picks.
Okay.
I mean, obviously not the best year.
I mean, 2 touchdowns and 8 interceptions is unheard of.
Do you think you could go into a college football game?
No shot. I would throw 5. I mean, I don't even know if I could get the ball off. Like, I would just chuck.
So maybe you won't throw 8.
Yeah, true. I mean, it would probably be like if I played an entire college football season.
Fumbles.
If I played an entire college football season on UMass.
Oh, 100%. I'm throwing 8 picks.
Okay, like I would throw 8 picks.
I'd turn the ball over. 30
I don't think I would like die though. Like if I played a season in the NFL, I would die. Like if you just like let me
you
go.
also played quarterback. I'd be screwed.
Like yeah, I played freaking third string middle school quarterback in like a game in high school, and then it was like hung up my cleats.
Hung up the cleats.
Like my arm is like not strong enough to throw football 45, 50 yards. That's not happening. If you got me in, okay, so if you got me in the system in like May and just like grind it out, like you're working with me every day.
Okay, maybe, but then like anybody, like really,
like I think I would be okay.
Anybody.
Like I would be terrible. I would be the worst football player in college football.
Oh yeah.
But like I would survive. Like I don't think I would die. If I played a season in the NFL, I promise you I would die.
Oh, yeah,
like the first Aaron Donald hit to the schnoz, you're knocked out, bro.
Dude, that'd be so
like you're
scary.
done for. You're just done for.
I don't understand. Football's a very weird sport. Like there's a reason I play baseball.
Yeah, like one shot, an accidental targeting from some guy on like UConn, and I'm dead.
Willingly just throwing yourself at somebody is like very.
And hey,
it's fun to watch, but
sure. In that one high school game that I went into, all I did was hand the ball off, and then I was gonna go.
You had it,
and then I was gonna go throw a pass,
the fade,
and I was like, ready, set, and then the 4'11" freshman from the high school that we were playing jumped across the line and got an offside penalty, so I didn't even get the play off because the clock was winding down. But yeah, anyways. Now I'm doing the broadcasting thing, just kind of like a Tony Romo type,
yeah.
Tony Romo, Peyton Manning type. But anyways, terrible touchdown to interception ratio from UMass's quarterback. New Mexico State was a bowl team last year. I mean, that's kind of slept on. They played Bowling Green in the Quick Lane Bowl last year, and Pavia, their quarterback was not bad. Like, he was not a terrible quarterback. He was talked about a little bit in the preseason, too. I mean, he was a slept-on guy and get out with his legs. I think he's good enough to beat this UMass team. New Mexico State got a couple guys out wide, and they're in a better situation than their their basketball team. Have you seen about that or no?
No.
About the murderer on their murder thing on their basketball team? Yeah, it's pretty bad actually.
I mean, they did just make the March Madness.
They did? This past year? Who did they play?
UConn.
No, that was 2 years ago. Because that's when they had Timmy Allen. And he's at Texas now, last year.
What is happening?
New Mexico State did not play last year.
New Mexico State. Sorry, I got them in San Diego State.
No, New Mexico State. Yeah. New Mexico State did actually play.
Did they really?
Against UConn 2 years ago, yeah.
No.
That's actually a crazy coincidence. But no. Yeah, New Mexico State's basketball team is in a terrible situation. Ben, quick trivia. I'm going to hit you again. What NBA player played at New Mexico State?
Is he like solid or is
he's solid. He was an all-star in 2019.
2019, so he's irrelevant now.
No, he's not. I mean, kind of. He's a forward. He wears a number over 40.
Okay.
He's not that crazy though.
Over 40?
It's Pascal Siakam.
He went to New Mexico State?
Yeah, he went to New Mexico State. That's one of the only things that, I mean, not the only things, but one of the things that I remember from Pascal Siakam. Yeah, New Mexico State Aggie. But yeah, we both have New Mexico State here in this game. I think they run away with this one. I don't think UMass is good this year. Like you said, their quarterback situation is pretty bad. I just don't think they have the guys to match up. So we will move on. I want to go to USC San Jose State, Ben.
That's fine. That's fine.
Is that a game you want to jump into?
We're saving the one that I wanted to for last.
Okay, great. Well, we have 2 games left.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. All right.
And you're talking about this one. But I'm pretty positive we both have the same outcome of this one.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting the score on the dot here.
Okay, go ahead.
I've got San Jose State 10, USC 56.
Okay, I actually had 52-7.
Okay.
So we were pretty close in score. I think 56 just straight up like 8 touchdowns is very possible.
Yeah.
But I also think if I mix it up, go 52, get lucky.
It's never what you. But it's going to be like 57, and we're both going to be wrong.
Yeah. It's going to be something like
some random, but it's valid. I really do like. I like Siobhan Cordero. And I really don't have a problem with him. He really is attempting to try to maybe like get to the league, to the NFL. He obviously this is his game where you're gonna have to show something. I'm really gonna scouts are gonna want to see something against him in a non-group of 5 defense.
Sure,
but as an undrafted player, if he has another great season, I could see Siobhan Cordero on a preseason team or something like that. So
why is that so true? Like I could just see Siobhan Cordero run around for the Raiders next preseason, like some random.
Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
He's Aiden O'Connell. I really see them as like the same person.
Siobhan Cordero and
Siobhan Cordero's like 6'3", though. Aiden O'Connell's like 5'1".
I think it's the other way. I think you meant Siobhan Cordero.
That's what I meant.
Aiden O'Connell's like 6'5".
Yeah, but he's just like.
He just stands in the pocket and just
I know.
I think him and Sean. I think Sean Clifford. Okay,
Don't get him started.
Don't get okay, but like seriously, like people are saying like Sean Clifford is like the quarterback of the future for
No,
Green
he's
Bay.
not.
Like we still have Jordan Love. Like we haven't even seen the guy
He's
play.
also facing third stringers.
Yeah, it's like it's ridiculous. Do you see Treylon Burks
He is
sprained MCL?
injured,
I
yes.
believe. But I mean, that's like 2 or 3.
It's like 2 to he should be back like week 2 or something.
Yeah, it's really not that bad.
I'm not
but-
I'm not like crying about it.
Yeah. Anyways,
We have
USC,
D-Hop.
USC, San Jose State. And yeah, Siobhan Cordero, we saw what he could do against Auburn last year. I mean, kind of lit him up a little bit in the early,
Like, what, 24
in the
points?
early season goings. Yeah, I mean that was a somewhat close game, came down to the wire. Kyrie Robinson, Nick Nash, like they got a couple guys for San Jose State that are going to be all Mountain West players, are going to be good enough to maybe score a couple of touchdowns, get a couple of stops. But it's USC, their top 5 team in college football. If this game's even close, if they give up more than 15 points to San Jose State, there's going to be a little bit of a problem. So I don't think they really compete. Although San Jose State could be maybe just a little bit slept on in the Mountain West this year. There's a lot of good teams out there. But, I mean, Siobhan Cordero obviously came over from Hawaii, kind of left them hanging because now they are not in the best of positions. But
No.
I think ultimately Siobhan Cordero, like what he could do at San Jose State, maybe against USC defense, gets lucky, throws for a couple of touchdowns. But, yeah, Ben, I'm gonna agree with you. I've got USC running away with this one somewhat easily. And, yeah, that is what it is. Do you want to go to the next game, Mr. Clay?
We definitely can. So it's the only one left. So it's FIU Louisiana Tech. Like I said, I think it could be the game of the week. Last year, I'm pretty positive it was like week 10 or something, week 11. FIU won in double OT 42-34.
Yeah.
So it was a great one last year. And I think, again, it will be a great one this year. Marquise Crosby, great game for Louisiana Tech, and I think he will carry them to a win here. I've got FIU 24, Louisiana Tech 31. So I just don't. FSU lost, or FIU lost a lot to the portal this year.
They did.
And I just don't think they will be consistent enough to pull out this ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, I do like their quarterback, Grayson James. We talked about him with Eric Henry last year, and that obviously, yeah, I mean, they lose a Power 5 wide receiver, Tyrese Chambers. That sucks, but they bring in a lot of guys on defense from the portal. Avery Huff comes over from Miami. They get a couple of guys there. Shomari Lawrence, their running back, comes over from South Dakota. So, I mean, FIU, yes, they are probably not the best of teams. I'm going to go for a little bit of a splash, say they pull out this win, start 1-0. They were not a good football team last year, but I believe in Coach McIntyre over there. He's got connections to the city of Nashville. And I like what he's got going. I like FIU a little bit more than the next person. And, I mean, it's a little bit of a bias thing. I want him to win. I'd love to see him succeed. So I like Grayson James and FIU to pull this one out. Give me this game, FIU 23, Louisiana Tech 20. And I actually put 24, but you said something about the score not being exactly what it is. So I got another low-scoring game. I think the offenses may not be clicking exactly like we think they may be. And I got FIU winning this one. Ben, you got Louisiana Tech.
There will be a leader after this week.
There will, yeah. We definitely have
some
differing
ones.
picks. But have you seen the FIU Miami Vice jerseys?
Yes, I
Have
have.
you peeked those? Those are sweet,
beautiful.
man. Those are a great decision by FIU. Kind of making a splash here. A lot of people are keeping their eyes on FIU nowadays, and maybe they're sneaking around the Conference USA. Dropped some absolute heat of jerseys a couple weeks ago, so that is a positive. But yeah, FIU, Ben, I got winning this game, and we're gonna be at Hawaii Vanderbilt. So what I think we're gonna do is maybe just like do an Instagram video before that game, and just say who we think's gonna win.
Well, we've already done. Oh, we haven't done that.
No, we
have
haven't, and I kind of saved them for last just to propose that idea.
Okay.
Just kind of like
Completely
pregame.
forgot about it.
Yeah. Rundown. I like AJ Swan.
We'll get
blah,
this
blah, blah, blah.
celebrity guest pick from Beatty.
Yeah. Maybe Beatty Noon hops in there in an Instagram reel, makes some noise. But yeah, I mean, I like what Vanderbilt's doing. Obviously, the stadium reconstruction is going to be interesting to see. I know there's been like crazy rumors floating around about like,
Even if it's going to be ready.
yeah, but it's definitely going to be ready. We're going to be there for quite the bargain, I will say.
Row 2.
Quite the bargain, like near the 50-yard line, and it
Yeah.
was pretty cheap.
It was.
It was pretty cheap.
You know, it says it's $9. You know, there's stuff with it. It's like 18, but like 18 for
Like 50-yard line seats at a college football
row
game.
2,
It's week 0,
line.
baby. We're here.
It's row 2, and I don't care. I'm honestly, I put 40 on the line for this game.
Oh, wow.
Just kidding, but I really am excited for some college football.
Yeah, I definitely am. We've got a couple overreactions to get to here before we end the episode. We're still under 50 minutes right now, Ben, so we are cooking with gas, doing a pretty good job on time. Overreactions are something that happen every offseason. We're going to see it. I would say Texas A&M was a bit of an overreaction. We bought into them. You know, we drank the Kool-Aid for Texas A&M last year, and it was poison, all right? It was freaking Jimbo Fisher.
It was laced.
It was laced with Jimbo Fisher, all right? That's all we're going to say. Okay. That sounds a little bit suspect, but it was laced, and it wasn't too positive a season for Texas A&M. So we got 4 overreactions this season. I believe if we do our due diligence and we do our best to get these over on the socials, they will be up on Twitter at @so_boy_sports, over on Instagram at southern_boy_sportspod. Make sure to go follow those anyways. And 5-star review over on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And, you know, I was going to go rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple, just kind of like a thing. Accidentally clicked 1 star instead of 5.
No.
And so now the review says like 1 star, 1 review.
Here we go.
And it looks terrible. So it's not too good. We need some 5-star reviews if you're listening on Apple Podcast, or even if you're not, go over, show some love over there, and get the ratings over there up. But Ben, let's start with the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Alabama. I think this is a team that ultimately a lot of people are sleeping on this season. I mean, we both still have them top 5. I have them in playoff conversations. And look, I mean, people are saying, I mean, this team's really, blah, blah, blah. And I think the overreaction that we've seen from people actually have said this. And if they haven't said this specifically, you know, this is kind of the connotation that, you know, we're getting from them. The overreaction is that Bama loses 3+ games in 2023 this year, Ben.
Yeah.
3+ games. I mean, and that could be Texas, Tennessee, and LSU. I mean, you could see a loss to Arkansas in there. You could see a loss to A&M. Those games are going to be close. Like
Auburn
maybe in the Iron Bowl sneaks one if Peyton Thorne has a good season. Like, there are games to lose for Alabama. I will say I don't think they lose 3+ games. I think this is a foolish thing to say. I still believe in Nick Saban, man.
Yeah, of course. And that is the one thing that is stopping them from losing 3 games. It is Nick Saban. It is the way he brings in players. It also is the way is how he knows who to play and how to play them.
Sure.
And obviously the quarterback situation, you know, we could talk about it for a minute. Like, they might lose a game because of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, but the fact of them losing 3 games doesn't really make sense to me. They have a great defense, you know, and really it's still Nick Saban's team, and I think that no matter what, Bama is at minimum 2-loss team.
Yeah, and I mean, they're still doing a great job in recruiting. They're still bringing guys in. Obviously, Caleb Downs, Justice Haynes, like all those young bucks that are going to come in, be immediate impact players. I mean, you bring in a guy, your potential starting quarterback is Ty Simpson, who you brought in as a recruit, right? And so, I mean, he's still valuing bringing in good recruits. I think you bring in decent coordinators this year, Kevin Steele and Tommy Rees from Notre Dame. So I think Alabama is still, as they may not be taking steps, just like marching in the right direction as a dynasty team. I don't think they're going backward. I think right now, maybe just kind of stay the same and have a year or two in the future where they're really, really good. I'm interested to see what Ty Simpson can do. But again, huge overreaction. We're going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 here, or excuse me, scale of 1 to 5 here, Ben, on the overreaction. Number 5 being like, this is a huge overreaction, boy who cried wolf. Number 1 being like, I could see that. You go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Putting you on the spot. I know we talked about the scale, but I'll go ahead and.
I'm going to go like a. Can I go like 3.5?
Yeah, 3.5. That's acceptable.
I really like. I know I just said all this, but like 3 games, it could happen. Like I just said, I guarantee I don't think it happens because of Nick Saban and all that.
Sure,
but I don't think it's kind of crazy to overreact that this team is worse than it has been in the past. And so I mean, I guess implying that like last year they did lose 2 games, so I mean implying that they got worse. So I mean, yeah, they could definitely thinking that they could lose 3 is a valid statement.
Yeah,
but I think that it's still Nick Saban's team, and they are still quality quality football team.
And I'll one up you, Ben. I'm going to go with a 4.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go with a 4. I can see a 3, 3.5. Both those are fine, but I'm going to go with a 4. I just think at the end of the day, you come in with a coach like Nick Saban, with a talented as a team as you have this year. I just find it hard to believe they lose 3 games. And if they do lose 3 games, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But I would say the plus part of it is kind of where I'm like weary. Because the 3+, people are saying Bama's going to go 8-4. I just don't see it. We've seen Nick Saban coach teams go 9-3. I want to say 2016 or 17 or something like that. They played Michigan in the Citrus Bowl, and it was Shea Patterson v. Mac Jones, which is an interesting game. But I mean, there have been teams who have lost 3 games. It's been very occasional. But I mean, I think if you get down to 4 or 5 losses, it's just not going to happen. So I think Alabama. Still a player in the game. I still got him ranked top 5. Ben, you still got him ranked top 5. I got him in the end of the year playoff on my end of things. So that's my take on it. Let's go down to Boulder, Colorado. Ben, one of the most talked about teams this whole offseason. The freaking Buffs. They got a guy named Shedeur Sanders who has got some buzz, Ben. He's got some buzz, healthy or unhealthy for the program. The overreaction from this offseason is that Shedeur Sanders is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
I am completely confused on this one.
And you got to let that one breathe for a second, because it's like he comes from an FCS team where he did light it up. I mean, he was a very good quarterback at Jackson State. There's a reason, outside of Deion being his dad, that he's going to be the starting quarterback at Colorado this season. I think a lot of people in the portal would have picked him up outside of his namesake, outside of whatever, just based on the type of quarterback he is. I think he's a solid player. But to say he's going to win the Heisman based off getting a couple good receivers around him, getting a guy, yes, Travis Hunter's a really good receiver. Then again, haven't seen him play at the Power 5 level quite yet. And all this stuff, like, we're going to have to see a lot more out of this team and a lot more out of Shedeur Sanders than I'm ready to say Shedeur Sanders is going to win the Heisman Trophy or Colorado's going to win 11, 12 games, which I've just seen a lot of. And that's a huge overreaction, Ben.
And he has not played a single FBS game, and we're coming in here saying that he is going to win the Heisman, which kind of is unbelievable to me. I don't know the last time a freshman has won Heisman.
Not a freshman.
Well, sorry, a new to FBS player has won Heisman.
Oh yeah, I don't know if that's ever happened.
And so I just don't. I get it. He could be great, and I'm not saying that he's going to be terrible, but saying that he will win Heisman on a team that most likely is going to win 4 to 8 games is kind of crazy and unbelievable. Like, you have to be a great team and be a great player, and we saw it with Caleb Williams last year, and it's a consistent thing where usually it's a quarterback. So I mean, saying like Travis Hunter, I mean, 2-way player, so that's fine. Like,
yeah.
Whatever, that's like a Shohei Ohtani type thing, but but Shedeur here, I just don't. I was the one that brought it up, and I was like,
"Yeah, no, you were the one with you gathered the overreaction for this one." So
because I just didn't understand it. I keep on seeing it everywhere, and it's like, can Shedeur win Heisman? It's like, no. This year, no. Okay, maybe Colorado goes crazy like the next 2 years, and he wins it senior year, and then
you probably
if Colorado is better, then go ahead. But this year, it's basically a guaranteed no, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would put it at a 5.
Yeah.
I would put it at a straight 5 this year.
5.5.
And it's not to say that Shedeur, I mean, it is a little bit to say Shedeur Sanders not going to win the Heisman Trophy. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying it's a massive overreaction. Like, massive overreaction to say that Deion Sanders, I mean, Sean Lewis is a good offensive coordinator. He was really good at Kent State. But, like, who did he have? Colin Schlee? Like, okay. I mean, he's not terrible. Like, Colin Schlee's a good, solid college football quarterback, better than I am, but like, he's not going to play at UCLA this year, okay? More than likely Dante Moore or Ethan Garbers is going to have that job. And what?
Colin Schlee could.
Maybe. But
I've heard Dante Moore it's not guaranteed for Dante Moore at all.
Anyways, I just feel like, but Colin Schlee's not a Heisman winning trophy is my point.
Yeah.
He's not one of the stars of college football, and I understand it's harder coming out of Kent State than Colorado, but I don't know. I think Shedeur, we're going to have to see a little bit more. If he comes out, lights it up, like Ben says, maybe the next 2 years he just freaking like goes crazy, and that would be interesting to see. But anyways, let's get to the third overreaction, second to last. Got 2 more here on the episode for you. Close up shop. This is a Florida State take. All right, it's a Florida State overreaction from the 2023 offseason, and that's that FSU is a new player, and not only the recruiting, I can't think of the word, I guess the field of recruiting, but also the field of play. So we're talking, this is a team that's here to stay on the trail, and that's here to stay in college football playoff and ACC contention year in and year out. I'll let you start this one off, Ben, because I do like Florida State. I do like Mike Norvell, but I'm a little hesitant after seeing what happened to A&M, quite frankly, last year.
And yeah, that's kind of understandable, but I would not say it's the A&M scenario at all. I get that they haven't even brought in recruits like A&M did. A&M just compiled a bunch of guys and said, do good. FSU is kind of, they're putting them together. Jordan Travis obviously was not like a 5-star,
sure.
Everyone was like, oh, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
And so I think Norvell's doing a good job of developing his players, and I think FSU is a great place to get recruited. It's a great environment. It's everything down there, and so really I'm putting that at like a 2. Like I understand like maybe the recruiting isn't as good, but they were powerhouses like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
7 years ago. And so
it was a year that they made the college football national. They won.
Jameis Winston,
with Jimbo Fisher. Funny enough, with Jameis Winston against Auburn, and that year that they had Nick Marshall and Trey Mason and Chris Davis and all those guys. Like, it's not been too far removed from Florida State being really good, but a lot of people are kind of remembering those 4-8, 3-9, 5-7, just stinker teams that we've seen from Florida State after the departure of Jimbo Fisher and kind of those middle years as well. But I think Mike Norvell definitely has his team hiking in the right direction. The only reason I have it as an overreaction is just because we haven't seen them be good for a second consecutive year.
That's fair.
So it's also like, yeah, they were good last year. They went 10-3, I believe. And, ultimately kind of competed just a little bit, made some noise in the ACC. But we haven't seen them step forward on the field and be a college football playoff contender. And that's how people are talking about them in the landscape right now of college football. Is like, hey, this team's really good. They're a top 5 team in college football, and they will be consistently. Like, okay, let's hit the brakes a little bit and say we're going to have to see Florida State be really good. Do I think they're going to be really good? Yes. Like, I'm going to agree with you and say this is a 1 or a 2. Just because I think they're bringing in recruits, they're bringing in positions of need, not just like you said, compiling guys and throwing money at them. Yeah. And I'm not saying Jimbo's not a good recruiter or Texas A&M wasn't doing things right, but I mean, we're going to have to pump the brakes at some point. The NIL kind of caught up with them, and now Florida State's in a position to kind of take over the ACC as their own, especially with all the new power conferences forming. If they can consistently win the ACC, or if they get moved to the SEC, compete there, or whatever conference they get moved to, be in a spot to compete. Especially with the 12-team college football playoff, you're going to be in a spot to compete every year. If you're not winning the ACC, you're going to be second, and so on and so forth. So I think the ACC, well-suited for Florida State. If they leave, so be it. But I think Florida State is here to stay for at least 5-6 years. Maybe they fizzle out, whatever. But I'm not saying they're going to be a dynasty, but I think they could definitely be a team to watch out for in the next couple of years. So me and Ben both obviously have that 1 or the 2 there. And the final overreaction of the offseason, Ben. This is you came up with the Bama one. We kind of collaborated on that one. Came up with the Shadur one, and then I kind of came up with these last 2. And we're going to go back to the state of Alabama. We're going to go back to the SEC. We're going to go to Hugh Freeze. Yeah. In Opelika County for the Auburn Tigers. Hugh Freeze is kind of doing his job on the recruiting trail. I think that's something that is well off. I think a lot of people understand that. I think a lot of people are high on him now. But the overreaction is that Hugh Freeze has Auburn in a New Year's Six bowl by next year.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I really don't, not really sided with that. I think Auburn has, I'm not going to say Auburn's going to be bad, because I think they're definitely improving. Hugh Freeze is improving that team.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is by 2025.
Or next year is a take.
Well, you said 25.
Yeah, I know. When we talked about it pre-show,
24. And so I don't think by next year that is happening. Really, you have to get a quarterback. You have to develop that quarterback. Or get a 5-star quarterback. So I mean, just depends. But there's a lot of things that go into a New Year's Six team, and I don't think they will be there yet by next year.
This one's kind of tearing me. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Because I think actually, I'm kind of gonna go against you, and I'm gonna say that Hugh Freeze. I'm gonna clip. This is gonna be over on TikTok and stuff for sure. So here's my clip one. I'm going to send this to Beatty as well. Maybe finally get on his good side or whatever. But I think, honestly, Auburn has the potential of a team. Hugh Freeze, who has produced some decent wide receivers out of Ole Miss. He produced a couple good quarterbacks, whether it's Malik Willis at Liberty, whatever it is, back at Ole Miss. He produced some guys to the NFL. We've seen Hugh Freeze do that. We've seen Hugh Freeze pick up on the recruiting trail, get a couple 5-stars, whether he stole it away from Alabama or, got his guys on his own, whatever it is. I think Auburn in the recruiting trail is set. I think they're set up for success. I think they're going to consistently have top 25 classes and be in the position to compete. Now, Ben, your argument would obviously be that they just don't have the talent right now. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years before they're able to compete, and I would probably agree with that. But I think if going into the next offseason, and I would say Peyton Thorne's probably QB1 this year, whatever it is. So if they land a 5-star quarterback, that's a little bit different. But I think if you honestly, you have a guy in your room right now named Holden Geriner, who, quite honestly, if you develop him in the right way, if you get him in camp next year, because I think this year, even if Holden Geriner outplayed him, it's going to be hard to not play Peyton Thorne because you're pulling him away as a starter. Potential, he was like an all-fringe, all-Big Ten team a couple years ago. So it's like, I think Holden Geriner is a guy that could put you. He has a really high ceiling. He is built. He can throw the football. There's been high praise from him out of camp, and I believe in Hugh Freeze as a head coach. Obviously, did some things off the field that a lot of people don't agree with, and I honestly don't either. But he kind of revived his career at Liberty as an X's and O's college football coach. To say that this team is in a New Year's Six Bowl by next year, it's not that crazy. Like, I think if they develop players the right way, bring in a couple stars through the portal, because a team can change a lot nowadays. If you bring in a couple guys from the portal, whether it's from Georgia, Alabama, snipe a few guys off of different rosters, I think Auburn has shown the ability to get guys out of the portal, to lure guys in from the recruiting trail, and I like what Hugh Freeze is doing. So I'm going to say Auburn. I'm gonna put it at a 2.
No.
I'm going to put it at a 2 out of 5. A 3. I'm going to put it at a 3 out of 5 that this Auburn team goes in and makes a New Year's Six bowl game in 2023.
That's 100% not
Excuse me,
happening.
2024.
It's 100% not happening. The way that college football is right now, it's not happening. Look, last year, Bama, what did they have to be able to make a New Year's Six bowl game?
Sure.
In the SEC.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly, and I don't think Auburn is anywhere near that type of level of play, and they needed Nick Saban as their head coach. So I don't think Auburn is anywhere near that type of level, and maybe maybe it's like a FSU situation where they just completely have like a crazy year, and this year they go like 10-3 like FSU did, and then next year they do it, whatever.
Yeah,
but like I don't think they have that type of thing. But. It's not a hate on Auburn at all, but I don't think that is happening in the next 2 years. Because that's literally like a 4.5 for me. There's no way they do that.
So you don't think there's any way on God's green earth that they do it?
There's no way.
I honestly think, you're pretty much an old team. Like Jair Shorter's gone, Shane Hooks is gone, Javarius Johnson is gone, but you have guys Camden Brown, Coy Moore, younger. Jarquez Hunter is a junior. Okay, he's not gone 100%.
He'll be a senior next year.
Damari Alston is a sophomore. He'll be back. Mm-hmm. And if not, he's going to be RB1. And then Brian Batty is also, came from USF, and I want to say, I can't remember, USF and somewhere else. And so he came over from there, and he's a junior too. So he's not going to be gone for sure. So I think at the end of the day, Holden Geriner, Jarquez Hunter, you bring in a couple receivers, you're going to have a 5-star true freshman wide receiver next year who's going to see playing time. That's a guarantee. We've seen, you have a coach, you have a DB coach at Auburn right now who has produced tons of NFL talent, whether it's Roger McCreary, Smoke Monday of recent. I believe in Hugh Freeze to raise the ceiling of this team. Do I think they're going to win the national championship? No. I just don't. Do I think they're going to make college football playoff anytime soon? Probably not. But to say they make a New Year's Six bowl, especially because the New Year's Six field is going to be shortened because of the college football playoff. Oh, well. The New Year's Six door is going to be a little bit more open than it has been in the past, because now you're looking at, either you're in the playoff or you're just outside and you're in a New Year's Six bowl. Does Auburn have the potential to be a top 15 team next year? In my eyes,
that is a yes.
It's not so far-fetched out of the equation that they could make a New Year's Six bowl next year.
Well, so I pulled up the schedule, okay? And I mean, I don't even think like New Year's 6. Like I think it's kind of unfair to classify that as a top 15 team.
I mean,
I really don't like that type of thought because you're not a New Year's 6 team in my eyes. If you're 15th in the country,
I guess I'd say top 10.
Top 10 is not happening. Okay, look, schedule. Okay.
Okay.
Cal, New Mexico State, ULM.
Dub.
Or New Mexico. You can win all those games.
Okay.
Once you get into SEC play, you play Bama.
Okay, wait. At the beginning of the season?
Yeah. No, these are all dates to be
Okay.
to be announced. These are all dates to be announced. So SEC play, you play Bama.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Win.
Oklahoma.
Win.
Okay, watch your mouth, buddy. Texas A&M.
Win.
Vandy.
Win.
Georgia.
Okay.
Kentucky.
Win.
And Missouri. Okay,
Win.
calm down. You just said they would lose one game. That is unbelievable.
No, you go 10-2. Alabama and Georgia.
No, you're losing to another one of those teams. Arkansas, whether it be Arkansas, Oklahoma, A&M.
You just don't. Holden Gardner could be really good.
Okay.
Like, if we're talking about overreactions, I would
Like
say
for him to do that if he's not starting this year,
he's not.
for him to do that in 1 year, in year one, is like a 4.5.
He'll be a junior though. Like, it's not like
With
he's
no
going to be just like,
experience.
yeah, I'm just coming in here as a freshman, starting like, unless we see freaking Hank Brown, freaking Nashville native out there. I just honestly, I have that feeling that Holden Gardner, and if this gets clipped and he's terrible, whatever.
I'm going to hold you to this right here.
I just have that feeling that if Jarquez Hunter comes back, number one, and if not, they have a guy in the backfield who's a sophomore who could step up. You've brought in guys from the portal. Like, Shane Hooks was not on the team last year. Jair Shorter was not on the team last year. You brought in two of your top two receivers from the portal. And that's not out of the question going into next year, right? You lose Javaris Johnson, who's got track speed. I understand that. But, like, it's never out of the question to go in and land a top 25 receiver in college football if he enters the portal. You bring in a five-star receiver that you pulled away from Alabama, which was huge, right? You bring in, I know it's early in the cycle, but more than likely a top 25 class for Auburn this year. You're going to have guys who are going to be play-now guys. I just think that it's not crazy to say Auburn's going to go 10-2 and make a New Year's Six bowl.
But I'm saying the fact that you have that as a 2.
No, I said 3. Okay, I said 3. I changed it to a 2 would be outrageous. I changed it to a 3.
I just don't think that with okay, you can say they have play now guys. They're still freshmen. There's still mistakes all around that team.
Yeah.
And I think there's inconsistency
But the way that we've
in
talked
those
about
games.
Caleb Downs, it makes it seem like he's a junior this year. Like
Caleb Downs is a completely different scenario.
But they pulled away a 5-star from Alabama. So
who's not named Caleb Downs?
That's
it's
the
completely
same
different.
potential of player.
No, it's completely different.
I think that wide receiver they pulled in is going to be a guy who
He
will
can be
see
a
the
point
field.
now. Of course they're not a team that's like
Okay, I don't
set
know.
on every position, but they're not a team that's set on every position. And obviously, no, I think they will have a top 25 recruiting class. Hugh Freeze has done great recruiting.
Yeah, he has.
But I don't think it will all happen by next year, which is what I'm trying to say.
I just think, I guess I understand from a perspective of like, it's just too much to happen in too little of time. Completely makes sense. But I guess I'm just banking on, number one, Holden Gardner to be a really good quarterback. Number two, the recruits and the transfers, most importantly, that is the most important part, is the transfers to keep rolling in. Because you get 2 or 3 starters from your offensive line from the portal. You get two of your top 4 or 5 receivers from the portal, right? You get a running back in Brian Batty from the portal. You get multiple defenders from the portal. Like, all these guys that Hugh Freeze are bringing in from the portal are going to be impact players immediately. So, if that happens again next year, you develop a guy in Holden Gardner, and if it's Robbie Ashford next year, there's going to be significant problems. So it's like, you bring in a guy in Holden Gardner who I think is going to be QB1 next year. I don't know. I'm drinking the Auburn Kool-Aid, man. And shout out to Beatty Noon for this one if he's listening. And if he's not, he might see it on the Reels or the TikTok or whatever it is. But
I'm not posting this for your sake.
But I like Auburn this year and next year. I like what they're doing. I like Hugh Freeze. We've seen his potential to win in the SEC. Obviously, a couple of those wins, most of those wins were vacated for obvious reasons. But like on-field performance from Hugh Freeze so far, I think it's W reviews, and I think watch out for Auburn in 2024.
No.
That's a good way to end the episode, though. It has been a very, very good episode. Nice little argument to end it off on the 58th episode. But picks, predictions, overreactions. Very, very solid offseason from the boys, Ben. I mean, we were just pumping out content left and right. Podcast. Do we miss a week?
I think when it was around 50, we like kind of like scuffled.
Yeah,
but it was,
yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I was in Atlanta, you were in Hawaii, and all that stuff. Yeah,
lot happened.
That's right. So, anyways, but we have been pretty consistent. We're giving you that college. We're scratching that college football itch, if you know what I mean, each and every week. So keep coming back to us. Follow us over on our socials at @so_boy_sports on Twitter, at @southern_boy_sports pod over on Instagram. 5-star review on the services, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Like and subscribe over on YouTube. The beautiful hat right here, College Station, Texas edition of the University of Traditions hat. Go to UNIVERSITYTRADITIONS.BIZ. Use code SBS15 to get 15% off your purchase over there. Helps everybody out. So, Ben, good episode 58.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the Auburn Kool-Aid in 2024. I know you're disagreeing with me there. But
Ridiculous.
any other outside of Auburn 2024 objections for this episode?
Nah, I'm all right.
Alrighty, well, this has been the 58th episode of the Southern Boys Sports Podcast. We'll be live. Well, no, we won't be live, but we'll be there. Hawaii, Vandy, First Bank Stadium this Saturday, week 0. College football is back. Let's ride.
Let's go.
Same time, same place next week. See you, boys.